You know, it's been a little while since we've covered Blaire White, which is kind of unfortunate because generally Blaire White's always been like a staple for this channel, you know? Like we've got Steven Crowder, Blaire White, Ben Shapiro, who else do we cover like really, really often? PragerU. We like to cover who else do we cover really commonly? Like you know, we'll do like a cycle, like every like once a month or so we'll come back to a particular channel and see if they put out any good content worth covering. Who else do we tend to do that with? I mean, well, Ben Shapiro, like Daily Wire. Yeah, Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire people. Matt Walsh, Geeks and Gamers, The Quartering, basically all down the line. There are a few basic like staple right wing content creators that we like to cover here every month or so. And honestly, it's been a long time since we've covered Blaire White. And before we get into this, I actually want to show you guys something that makes me very, very happy. This makes me very, very happy. So when you look at Blaire White's sub count here, this may be quite upsetting. You know, nearly 1 million subscribers. She'll probably be getting 1 million by the end of the month. But then, yeah, this does put a smile on my face. Yeah, boy. Anyway, so Blaire White, who is she? What's her deal? Why do we dislike her? So, Blaire is a conservative YouTuber that gained her fame. And if you know who Blaire White is, then you probably know this. She's a trans woman. Now, this would generally be completely irrelevant if she made any other kind of content, but unfortunately, she's more or less marketed herself as being like the super pretty, well-passing conservative trans woman who dedicates her content to shitting on generally trans women who either don't pass too well, act in a particularly cringy way, or maybe even in the case of like Jessica Yaniv, have done something that's like actually bad, and then tries to basically frame the majority of the trans community as being made up of people like that to sort of validate the preconceived transphobic biases of her audience, and more or less does the sort of like I'm one of the good ones thing, right? Now, I used to think that she did it as a grift, like like I really thought she was grifting, but as it turns out, I've talked to Calvin Gara, who is friends with Blaire White. I actually plan on having him on sometime soon to talk about some of these topics. And I think Blaire might actually believe this stuff she says. Now, this does not mean she's right. And it doesn't mean she's not a bad person. But I genuinely believe she actually believes the things she's saying. I don't believe she's a grifter, at least not in the sense that she is lying about her political opinions in order for profit. I think she genuinely believes the rhetoric that she's spreading, but maybe leans a little bit harder into it because she knows it produces a lot of views and a lot of money. Now, it's not too hard if we go back into Blaire White's content to see that she has a history with this kind of stuff. You guys remember when Blaire White exposed, I mean, it was already pretty well known that Jessica Yaniv was a pedophile, and then debated Jessica Yaniv, the pedophile, on her channel, had like a quippy line during the debate, and then made that into merch. It was like, was that a moment for you or something like that? Had that line made into merch, and then followed the pedophile's makeup tutorial. Now, you can argue that Blaire White exposing a pedophile is, you know, a good thing, right? Maybe there is some good intentions there, but the way that she milked the Jessica Yaniv thing was fucking wild. It just like, this is a little weird, right? This is a little weird. Not to mention, the way she introduced the Jessica Yaniv thing was like this. Exposing Jessica Yaniv, trans predator. It's very deliberate. Oh, look, she just ticked over to 900,090 subs while we were here right now. She just ticked over to that. She's only 10K away from 1 million. That's pretty nice. There's a very deliberate reason for why she named the stream, or named the video this, because this is what her fans want. They want to see her shitting on trans people and validating their biases. But anyway, we all know Blaire White's transphobic. But she made a new video. So for one, she made this one about exposing the faces of the map community. Now, I don't know what this video entails, so I'm not going to comment on it. If it's literally just a maps bad video, I'm fine with that. That's completely cool. But I have to guess that Blaire probably found some way to try and claim that, like, trans people are pushing the map shit. Like, I haven't seen it, so don't take my word for it, but I feel like, just knowing Blaire, she probably went that direction. We're not going to be covering that one. We are going to be covering is this video. Reading death threats sent to me by trans activists. So, we're just going to get right into it. But before we do, I'm going to say this right now. I do not condone, in any way, shape, and form, sending death threats to Blaire White, or, like, attacking her, or attempting to harm her in any way. Don't do that kind of shit. It doesn't do anything, for one, and it also makes us all look bad, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, if Blaire White was like a Nazi fascist goose stepping down the fucking street, chanting, Heil Hitler! Or some shit, then I would be like, okay, maybe my opinion on that's a little different. But don't send her death threats, okay? It just gives her ammo to use for her audience. I'm getting needed for that one. It just gives her ammo to use against the trans community. Now, secondly, I want to point out that the term trans activists is always a red flag, okay? When you are, if you suspect somebody is a TERF, a true scum, or any kind of transphobe, the biggest red flag is the term trans activists. If you've been doing this for long enough, you guys know. You guys fucking know. That's the biggest red flag right there. Anyway, let's get right into it. Hit me up, Blaire.
I've been thinking about what to do with your address since I found it. Good luck with me. Rest in peace, Blake. Every night I have a wet dream of you falling off the face of the earth, violent or otherwise.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that fucking ear rape sparkle intro. Blaire, please. Blaire, listen, if you're watching this right now, I'm going to give you some actual constructive criticism, okay? I want you to take this to heart. This is genuine advice right now. For one, if you edit your own videos, use Sony Vegas, okay? You can... Yeah, you're right, Diggum. See, she is kind of hot. But regardless, go to Sony Vegas, install that. You can pirate it for free, okay? Not that I did that, and not that I would ever condone pirating software. You can pirate Sony Vegas for free. You take that little sound effect right there, and you should have it in your audio thing, okay? Now, I imagine you have... The way it works is, you've got your video track, and then you've got your audio track for the original video that you took, right? So you have, like, the audio of the video that you recorded, and the video part of it, like the actual visuals, right? God damn it, my camera keeps unfocusing. And you've got the actual visuals of it. And then you can make a second line for your sound effects. That's where you should add, like, the little blinky sounds and the sparkles and stuff like that. And then you click on it, and you just move a little slider down to balance your audio. You just move the little slider to lower the volume of your sound effects so they don't fucking blow out my eardrums, okay? Because I'm pretty sure you just take the sound effects from your sound effect folder and you drag them in. You drag them from onto your editing timeline in Sony Vegas. Please balance your audio, Blaire. Every time I cover your videos, I get fucking ear raped by your intro.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm actually going to be turning my pain into content for your enjoyment, which is actually really nothing new. I woke up today and I was like, you know what? I need to film a video, but what topic do I want? Something that's not as serious and as dark as my last couple videos. And I thought, why not read off the death threats that I get from trans activists on a minute-to-minute basis to you guys? How f***ed up and damaged am I that I don't consider?
So, as a content creator, you're basically always going to be assaulted with a deluge of death threats, doxing, hate, all these kind of things. People are going to make things up about you, rumors, lies, all that kind of shit. You're going to get into beef with people. This is just like a known fact of being a content creator on the internet. Your YouTube channel could be about rescuing puppies that got washed into sewer grates during rainstorms. That could be your YouTube channel, and you will still have people trying to find your address so they can send the police to your house and fuck with you, okay? That is always going to be a thing. However, I have absolutely no doubt that Blaire White gets a massive amount of hate and death threats. And I do not support the death threats. Now, the hate I can understand, but the reason I want to point this out is, why does Blaire think that she gets such a disproportionately high amount of death threats? Now, she's not like a lefty YouTuber. It's not Kiwi Farms doing it, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, but generally they seem to look past the right-wing YouTubers, you know? It's generally young trans people that have usually been featured on Blaire White's channel and then been absolutely submerged in a tidal wave of hate and harassment from Blaire's fan base. This has happened a ton of times. Blaire White, every time she features some trans trender or anything on her channel, those people end up getting a ton of harassment from her fans, okay? It's insane, okay? So I honestly am not surprised that a lot of those people feel threatened by Blaire, and perhaps even feel like they need to go out and like send her death threats and shit, either as retaliation or as to try to get her to stop. Not that I support it, but maybe, perhaps, this should be a sign to Blaire that she may want to reconsider her content and her method for making content, who she goes after, and who she targets. You would think that would be, you know, a bit of a hint there, maybe a bit of a sign.
Consider death threats to be a serious topic. I mean, on a real note, I've been doing this for 4 years, and it just kind of comes with the territory. I've been doing everything I do online for about 4 years now, and it kind of comes with the territory. But unless someone's literally at my door, which actually has happened, then I'm really not going to take it super serious unless it's really bad. And we will read some really bad ones here today, but I thought that it'd be interesting to show you guys the DMs that I get. So if you ever catch me not being super responsive in DMs, I might not be checking because I might not want to read, you know, messages about how I need to die. So it's no secret that I am I usually say black sheep of the trans community. Let's say outcast. Let's say that. Because
now, there is a little bit of truth to this. But I don't think Blaire can really claim that she's like an outcast to the trans community. Like, the broader trans community probably really dislikes her because of how transphobic her content is. But you can't really play the victim and say that you're like an outcast or whatever when you've got nearly 1 million subscribers, which, to be fair, a fairly large amount of her fan base are actually trans. That's actually a defense that she uses quite often, that her content can't be harming the trans community because she's gone to a lot of events where she's met previously transphobic parents that now accept their kid being trans because of her content. And I genuinely think she believes that she is doing good by doing what she's doing, but she's, doing a disproportionate amount of bad, I would argue. And she's used this as a defense a lot, but it's really weird for her to play the victim when she's got nearly 1 million subscribers.
It's really just trans activists that send me the worst hate that I get. A lot of people are like, oh, do you get, like rednecks and transphobic people sending you like hateful messages? No, not really. It's usually just trans activists.
I've never been able to get an answer for this, but what is a trans activist? It's always just, they always use this buzzword, and I can never, ever get an answer. What is a trans activist? What does that even mean? It literally just means trans people who are outspoken about trans rights and the issues that trans people face. Literally all it means. It can be anybody from some irrelevant 2-follower Twitter account of a trans girl with their pronouns in their bio to somebody who runs like a pro-trans charity. That's what they mean when they say trans activists. Any trans person that disagrees with them, or does something cringy, I guess. Because then they can sort of build a separation between normal trans people like Blaire and the crazy trans people. Anybody who's outspoken about the issues that trans people faced and aren't happy about it.
So let's just jump right into it, shall we? And because I'm not as low and as despicable as the individuals we're going to be responding to today, I'm not going to show their handles or their screen names or their emails because I don't want anyone to go send hate their way.
I'll give you that, Blaire. I'll give you that, actually. That is a good thing. That has been one of my biggest criticisms of Blaire White for a long time, is that her audience tends to dogpile the people she features on her channel. So, I'll give her that. That's the least she can do. I'll give her that one. That's a thumbs up from me. I will give you that one. She shows their faces, though. Well, she's got to make fun of their appearance. How much do you want to bet she makes fun of somebody's appearance in this video? Or implied or explicitly demeans and makes fun of the appearance of some trans person in this video. I got $5 on it, okay? $5 on her making fun of someone's appearance in this video, okay? I'll gift a sub to somebody if that's possible. I don't think I actually can on my website. I don't know. I'll figure out some way to gift a sub to somebody if I'm wrong. Anyway, though, I will give her a thumbs up for that. I will. I'll give her that.
Lord knows they're probably a lot more mentally fragile than me. They couldn't take it. But I will, however, be showing their faces along with their messages because you'll see. So this lovely little lady says, "Lucky you're moving. I've been thinking about what to do with your address since I found it. Good luck with me. Rest in peace, Blake." So she's either deliberately calling me Blake, which I think is so funny how trans activists are the first ones to
Is that Blaire's dead name? I don't know what Blaire's dead name is. I assume that's Blaire's dead name. Hey guys. That's not okay. I'm gonna hit you guys with a hot take. I'm gonna hit you guys with a scalding hot take. Being transphobic to a trans person that you hate and that is a bad person is still transphobia, and it still hurts every other trans person, okay? If you're okay with being transphobic to Blaire White, you're okay with being transphobic to every other trans person, it's still transphobia. Literal dry ice take. Apparently not to this lady. Yeah, I don't support this. This lady's a cunt. This lady right here, definitely a cunt, okay? Dead naming Blaire White, not okay. It's not. Don't be transphobic to Blaire White. It's that simple. there's plenty to go after Blaire White for that has nothing to do with her being trans, or little to nothing, right? Because obviously the fact that she's trans and makes transphobic content is relevant, but you don't attack her for being trans. I mean, come on. Chill out.
Use that kind of a card against a trans woman, or that's a typo. Don't really know. But it's just so crazy to use someone being doxxed and their address to intimidate them. You can say...
Wait, was that actually Blaire's dead name? I don't know what Blaire's dead name is, but if that was actually dead naming, I thought it was a reference to that one person named Blake that got, like, killed by the police recently. Wasn't there a, what? Wasn't there a, it was? Okay, I don't know Blaire's dead name, I don't care.
A lot of things about me, and I know I'm messy. I'm a messy ass bitch. This is nothing new. Everyone who knows me knows it. Everyone who doesn't know me but hears about me knows it. It's true. But I would never fix my mouth to threaten someone physically or...
Her dead name isn't Blake. Are you guys gonna make me Google a trans woman's dead name on stream? Yeah, Jacob Blake, is that what it's a reference to? It was a reference to Jacob Blake, right? That's what I thought it was. Hold on, I need to know. I'm too curious. I'm not gonna say what her dead name is on stream, though. I can't find it. Alright, I don't care enough. Never mind. We're gonna assume that person dead named her. I can't find it. I looked it up and I don't care. I don't care to go past the very first search result. We're going to just assume that that person dead named Blaire White. Not okay. Alright? Don't do that. It's not okay to do it to any trans person, even if it's Blaire White. I know, scalding hot take, there is plenty to go after Blaire for that is not transphobia, okay? This is real Monka S. It's not Monka S, okay? I know you guys are yikesing because you wanna be woke, but I'm literally trying to verify whether or not this attack towards Blaire was explicitly transphobic or not. If it wasn't dead naming her, that completely changes the context of that message. You guys realize that, right? It's still bad, but it's not transphobic if they weren't actually dead naming her. But I can't find it, so I don't know. We're going to assume it was dead naming, something I do not support. So yeah.
Or fix my little Twitter fingers, I guess I should better say. So I guess to this person I would say, actually you're lucky I'm moving, because if you decided to come to my address, it ended up really bad for you, not me. I promise you that. Boom. So this one's less of a threat so much as it is a wish. It says die which is hilarious because again, the only people that ever call me any anti-gay slur.
Holy shit. Are you sure these aren't like... Are you sure these are actual, like, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I would not be surprised if the vast majority of the people she features in this video are actually, like, people online from, like, 4chan or something pretending to be trans and engaging in this. You know what it could actually be? Oh, shit. I actually learned something really interesting the other day. Did you know that 4chan, like, Poll and Kiwi Farms, actually have a surprisingly large amount of trans people, particularly trans women, on their forums that, basically get their kicks out of doing what Blaire does, but to an even more disgusting level. Literally going out of their way to harass and dox trans people they don't like or that don't pass well, because they only get validation from harassing other trans people. So they hang out on Kiwi Farms and Poll. Did you know that's a thing? There are like tons of like Nazi, ultra-reactionary trans people that hang out on there. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them were like that, but I would actually kind of be surprised, because you would think a lot of those people would actually like Blaire White, because she kind of markets herself completely to that audience. Contra talked about it, yeah, in her cringe video.
And the only people that ever call me any anti-gay slurs, calling me a gay man or anything like that, are typically radical trans activists. And honestly, isn't it adorable / mind-numbing that they're—
What is a radical trans activist? What's radical about wanting trans people to have rights? Couldn't you make random accounts and send her hate? I listen. I'm gonna be a bit more charitable here. Sanderhall, this is conspiracy. No, it's not. It has been verified that there are a shit ton of people that are trans that hang out on pole and kiwi farms and engage in this kind of shit. How is it conspiracy? Wait, do you think it's conspiracy to say that there are Nazis that that pretend to be lefties online? What are you talking about? This isn't conspiracy. Look it up. This is verified, a thing that happens. You realize like a shit ton of the people that harass Christine Weston Chandler are trans people, right? You know that, right? Trans people that hate her because they think she gives trans people a bad name, so they hang out on 4chan and kiwi farms all day shit-talking her? You realize that's a thing, right? It's not conspiracy.
Their profile picture says support trans rights.
I've got like 1,247 viewers.
Done. This person, who has a severe self-confidence issue considering they're showing only the lower half of their face, says, "Too bad it wasn't you. Poor Eden."
I don't think that being their profile picture, I don't think that profile picture is indicative that they are self-conscious about their face. Who is Eden? Am I missing out on something here? Oh yeah, we got it. You don't miss. Attacking somebody's appearance. There you go. Attacking somebody's appearance. We got it. Somebody owes me $5. Hold on, who is Eden? Who is this a reference to? Eden the doll? She was attacked recently? Eden the doll. Eden the doll. I have no idea. Eden the doll. Oh, was she one of those trans women that was assaulted in the street? Was she one of those trans women that was like just attacked in the street? She's an Instagram model? Is she trans? Eden was once friends with Blaire? I heard a story about some trans women that were attacked in the street a while back. Yeah, she's trans? Okay. So... Okay, alright. Just looking for context, guys. Just looking for context, okay? Just looking for context. Too bad it wasn't you. I don't know if I support... I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I support random people sending... I don't like people sending death threats to Blaire, because then she gets to make content like this and say trans activists are engaging in this kind of stuff, and it makes the whole trans community look really bad. And it doesn't make it look bad in the way that Blaire's normal content does. She actually has ammo here, like actual legitimate ammo of like trans people doing bad things that make them look that makes things look really bad. You're giving her ammo here. Now, I can understand why they do it, but holy fuck. This is not a good look. Maybe rethink this one. Not a good look. Yikes.
Obviously, they're referring to the attack on Eden the doll, Jasleen, and Jocelyn that happened. I talked about it in my last video. They were brutally attacked. And so, again, it's so funny how, you know, I had Eden's back despite any of the people we ever had. Some of you guys know about that, some of you don't, because trans woman to trans woman, it was disgusting what happened to her. So I don't know how this person, as a trans person, can convince themselves that I'm just so evil and such a bad person that I deserve to be, you know, in a transphobic physical assault. This is what happens when you allow your ideology to taint your mind to such a degree that you are literally convinced that anyone who strays from that is evil. Because
Alright, shut up, Blaire. The reason that people think you're evil is because you constantly engage in harassment and inflammatory rhetoric towards trans people, okay? That is why people say that, Blaire. Now, very quickly, Whew. Blaire, what she is doing right now, is using this as ammo against the entire trans community, which is very, very bad. And this is why I don't support this kind of behavior. Because if this kind of stuff didn't happen, what would she have? She would have TikToks from like 17-year-old trans people doing cringy little TikToks, little adorable cringy little TikToks, right? And you know, if that's all the content that they have, then you can usually get through to them. You guys know what happened when I covered Calvin's video, where he and Blaire were making fun of Milo Stewart because they'd come back to you know, make some TikToks that were just sort of like, you know, they were wholesome little TikToks, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. He deleted the video like 5 hours after I put my video up. Now, I haven't talked to Calvin about that, so I don't know for sure if he deleted the video because of that. But when that's all they have, when that's all Blaire has is just videos of like kids being cringy, then that severely limits the kind of content that she can make, like the amount of ammo she has against the trans community. But if you're sending her death threats and engaging in literal transphobia towards her, that makes you look really, really bad and really hypocritical. It really is bad optics, okay? It's really bad optics. And ironically, this is the same kind of behavior that the woke skulls engage in against Contra. Have you noticed that a significant amount of the abuse that comes from woke skulls on the internet and on Twitter and stuff like that is legitimately transphobic? Whoop! Come on. You got this, camera. Have you noticed that? Like when ContraPoints talked about her experiences, like when it comes to like pronoun circles and whatnot in woke spaces, how she's okay with it and thinks it's good, but how personally it kind of gives her an uncomfortable feeling. And then the response to that from the woke scolds on Twitter was to say that she's transphobic and a piece of shit, and or NB-phobic or whatever, and basically saying she needs to shut the fuck up. Do you remember that? Oh, fuck. The perfect example of this is Lily Orchard's video on ContraPoints. Lily Orchard's video on ContraPoints is just a deluge of abusive transphobic attacks, like making fun of her voice, insulting her, outright saying that she shouldn't be able or is bad for expressing her opinions and her experiences as a trans woman, which, for one, absolutely were not transphobic or NB-phobic or harmful to non-binary people, and were at worst poorly worded. It's true. A lot of the woke scoldy types do engage in literal transphobia against trans people they dislike, but you know, let's not do that, okay? Let's maybe not. She kind of does what Hunter used to do. Anything the right does is trolling, while anything the left does is stupid, radical, or pandering. Yeah, kind of, but I don't know if it's exactly, I don't know if that's, I don't know if you can equate that exactly, but I get what you're more or less pointing to.
Once you do that, you can pretty much justify anything happening to them and even wish certain things happen to them. Like, not even about being trans, but like wishing that on any type of person is foul. You're foul, log off, delete your account. So this next one is such a level of crazy that I don't even...
Lily Orchard also thinks Vosh is crypto-fash. She called ContraPoints a Nazi in her video. She literally went out of her... Okay, somebody on Discord just messaged me to inform me that, hold on, wait. Redaction! Somebody just informed me, I'm not gonna say what it actually is, Blake is not Blaire's dead name. That person wasn't dead naming Blaire. But earlier on in the video, that wasn't dead naming Blaire. So we're good. Somebody messaged me that on Discord. So I retract my statement that the original person who made the first post was dead naming Blaire and engaging in transphobia. Want to very quickly inform you guys. Don't want to spread any misinformation. Not going to say what it is, though. There we go. Fun.
I might have to read this to Joey to get his reaction because it's so sick. So this one, I gotta give them their props, was very creative. They emailed my business email.
Does it matter? Does it matter whether or not they got the name wrong if they're still trying to dead name her? No. I'm pretty sure they weren't actually trying to dead name her. I'm pretty sure the Rip Blake thing was a reference to the person whose last name was Blake that I keep forgetting their first name that was murdered recently. I'm pretty sure that's what it was a reference to. Kind of weird to include that in the context, but Jacob Blake. I'm pretty sure that was a reference to Jacob Blake. It's really random and weird, but I don't... Yeah, he's alive? Wait, wasn't he fucking... Was he assaulted or... I don't know. Was he... I thought he was killed or like... I don't know. I have no idea. He was shot. He was shot like 7 times? Is he alive? He's alive? He's paralyzed. Okay. Maybe that's what it was a reference to? I have no idea. Let's move on.
Email titled the email sponsorship offer, and you know I don't get many of those, so I was definitely clicking that shit. And you'll see. Hi Blaire. First of all, I'm thinking you spelled my name wrong. Bad intro to a business deal. Whenever that happens, I just don't respond because it's kind of a baseline of respecting someone's name right. You said this email was for only business inquiries, so here's mine. Jump off that balcony you keep posting on your Instagram. You have made my life and the lives of all trans feminine people insurmountably more difficult. Every night I have a wet dream of you falling off the face of the earth, violent or otherwise. Does that even make sense? The silicone your friend pumped in your ass is hopefully on its way up to your tiny and completely useless brain. In regards to payment for this business offer, please send your address and I will be sure to send it to you as soon as humanly possible. Thank you very much for your consideration at this time.
I'm gonna be honest. I wish the death threats that I got were this well put together. Unironically, holy shit, this was like a full-on like formal death threat letter. The death threats I get from people are just like people randomly messaging me on Discord and calling me like a soy boy cuck or whatever, you know, like 5-second message. You know, damn, I wish I had like an actual professional death threats, okay? At the very least then I would be able to at least then I could like frame it on the wall or something, you know? Now, obviously, this is just some random fucking email with no profile picture. Could literally be anybody, but this is pretty transphobic. Don't support this. I definitely don't like that Blaire is targeting or using this as ammo against the entire trans community, as broadly speaking, but that's what Blaire does.
Wow. Again, the level of depravity. Like, I can tell when something is a troll and when something is really someone like furiously typing and just so mad. And the fact that this one's so premeditated and thought out.
It's unfortunate too, though, because the main sentiment of that message, besides the death threats, is true. The main sentiment is true. You've made my life and the lives of all trans feminine people insurmountably more difficult. Yeah. This is true. The main sentiment of this part right here is all you need. If that's all they'd sent her, then this would be fine. But instead, they had to throw in the death threats and the transphobia, and now she gets to use it as ammo against the whole trans community. It's frustrating.
Wow. Again, the level of depravity. Like, I can tell when something is a troll and when something is really someone like furiously typing and just so mad. And the fact that this one's so premeditated and thought out, like, she wanted me to see that. If this person didn't send this email from a psych ward, I'm really hoping they end up there soon because that is like really crazy. Joey! I want to read you this email. Come here. It's so crazy. Okay, I just already read them, the email, so I'm going to speed through it. Hi Blaire, you said this email. First of all, the email is titled sponsorship offer. Okay. Hi Blaire, you said this.
Okay, I don't.
Damn. In regards to.
I don't.
Did you send the address?
Yeah, totally.
But they never talk about any of the trans people that come to your shows or like. Right?
Relevant. Xander Hall, this video came out a week after the Jacob Blake shooting. Would make sense if they pulled her most recent ones. Okay. I'm going to probably I'm going to conclude that original message with the hashtag Rip Blake thing was probably a reference to Jacob Blake. That happened. That this video came out a week after, so it's probably not. What probably wasn't meant to dead name her. Okay, glad I can rest easy now, having that mystery solved for me. Okay.
Write you nice messages. You help a lot of people. I've seen it. I've seen people cry. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just so funny because at the end of the day, I feel like I do work towards like the same kind of goal as a lot of these people, because like at the end of the day, I am sort of trying to normalize trans people and all of that stuff. I just do it in a different type of way, and in my opinion, it's more effective the way I do it. I have people every second commenting on my stuff saying, I've never thought of a trans person in a good way until I saw you. And it's like half of these trans activists, the only people they're speaking to are people who already agree with them. You know what
All right, I'm gonna do a comprehensive breakdown of that statement. Blaire White does a good job of validating conservative, passing, ultra-feminine, wealthy, white trans people. Those are the kinds of trans people that Blaire White normalizes and helps, I assume, or normalizes to her audience. I have no doubt about that. That's probably true. The problem is, somebody like, for example, not to simp or anything, ContraPoints does an infinitely massive amount for the trans community than Blaire does, compared to Blaire. ContraPoints content goes out of its way to validate the identity of non-passing trans people, non-binary trans people, any trans person that is just not conventional, you know, non-conventional, just doing what they want to do, but would otherwise face a lot of discrimination from society for their identity. She does a lot to help normalize and validate their identity in her content, which is probably the reason why ContraPoints has more subs than her, if we're being completely honest. I mean, in all other respects, Blaire should have more subs than Contra. She uploads more, she covers more of those spicy topics, she panders to a particular audience more effectively, and Contra uploads less often, her content isn't exactly perfect for the YouTube algorithm, and yet, because of the quality of her content and the overwhelmingly positive impact and message that she has grown a massive amount and surpassed Blaire White. Yeah. Contra's been canceled more, though? Yeah, but that's because the woke scolds like to cancel lefties, because you don't get any social capital for canceling, like, right-wingers, because everybody on the left knows that right-wingers are bad, but you get more social capital for out-woking someone who's already woke, such as, you know, Contra, the largest Breadtuber.
I mean?
Yeah, for real. And people identify with the more personal stories that you tell, like, people will find part of themselves in anything you do. So.
Right. Alright, that's enough kissing my ass. Be gone.
Bye.
Bye. So I bet you're wondering if I ever, like, go to the popo about any of these types of messages and stuff. Only when it's really direct, like, the one I think I shared one a few months ago in a video. It was this, I'll even put her name because I put her name in the last one, Diana Ramsey, who said, honestly, I live within driving distance of Little Miss Blaire. Like her, I own implements and know how to use them. I could take her out from a distance. It would be my pleasure to erase this trash from Earth. That's crazy, and that was more of like a direct type of thing. I've dealt with like the authorities over this kind of stuff enough to know they have to make.
Don't do that. Guys, don't do that. Don't. Please. Don't give Blaire ammo. You guys should all know that if you give Blaire a bullet, she will fire it directly at the trans community, okay? When you do shit like this, I'm not saying that you in chat are doing this, but to potential viewers, when you do this kind of stuff, you are giving her ammo to fire at the trans community. And she does it. She's doing it right now.
Make like a direct type of claim. Otherwise, nothing happens. I mean, as it shouldn't. It should be direct to get consequences. But, you know. So here's one that was going around in a trans Facebook group. A lot of this is on Facebook, by the way. I don't know what it is with trans groups on
Boomers.
Facebook, but they are something else. Meet Blaire White, public enemy number 1, codename the Blaire Bitch Project. I should trademark
Based!
that. But here's the kicker. First of all, the public enemy number 1 thing, and then they put a target on my forehead. Like, these people really want me taken out. So here's the
Don't do that. I just vow.
thing. I see a lot of people on television or on the internet, social media, YouTube, whatever, who I look at and I listen to them speak or I see what they do and I'm like, wow, that person really sucks. I don't like that person. But I would never in my most like compromised state, like mentally, emotionally, substances, like anything, I would never think to wish harm on that person or try to incite harm on that person. And I know I'm sort of saying something very basic, like don't hurt people, but like I feel like that almost needs to be said. I feel like lately in the world, we've gotten to such a point. I mean, look at everything that's happening in the country and in major cities right now. It's like we're seeing the complete dehumanization of people who think differently than us, who behave.
Oh, you're completely right. Wait, you're completely right. So do you disagree with the police blackbacking protesters and gassing and unloading sometimes lethal, but usually non-lethal. Non-lethal. I mean, guy had his fucking eye taken out by a rubber bullet. Do you disagree with that? I assume you disagree with the police engaging in brutality against protesters, right? You disagree with that, right, Blaire? You know, that's what's happening right now in the country. Black Lives Matter protesters are being assaulted by the police. You disagree with that, of course, right? You dislike the you dislike that kind of violence, I would assume, right? Of course you do. Of course you do. But sarcasm aside, she's referencing Black Lives Matter right now, implying that BLM protesters are actually the real hateful ones, the ones that are actually spreading hate and violence.
Even ways we don't necessarily approve. Like, we're justifying so many bad things. I don't know. But hey, you have to laugh about it because if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Just kidding. I would never shed a tear for you bitches. With that being said, make sure you guys subscribe.
Okay. In conclusion, please, for the love of God, don't do this kind of shit, okay? Now, I know she only showed like a couple of screenshots. Most of them were sending either violent threats or also engaging in blatant transphobia. I don't know about the first one, but most of them were engaging in literal transphobia towards her. That's not okay. Transphobia is never okay, no matter who it's against, okay? Just like if there was a black guy who is a pedophile, it's not okay to call him the N-word just because he's a bad person, okay? It's not okay. If you're okay with calling a black serial killer the N-word, you're okay with just okay with racism, all right? Now, I know this should be pretty obvious, but I know for a fact there are some people watching this right now that probably disagree with that. Xander Hall's virtue signaling? Maybe it is a little virtue signaling, but genuinely, I'm not saying this is like a hot take. This is a very cold take, but I know for a fact that because some people in my audience are kind of edgy, there's got to be at least one person within my audience that may think it's okay to like use slurs or engage in certain types of bigotry towards a person who, like Blaire White. It's not okay. And I've seen it happen. So I know some people in my community have done it before. Not okay with that. It's never okay. Be the bigger guy, gal, or pal, okay? Be above that, all right? You're all above that, okay? Trust me. Don't engage in that kind of shit. All you do is give ammo to her. Now, it doesn't mean that she's in the right, because what she's doing right now is weaponizing death threats towards her against the entire trans community. That's what she's doing right now. And it's a very, very scummy tactic. And I condemn her greatly for that. But if you give her that ammo, she's going to use it. So just don't give her that ammo.